All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we've already done one whole episode.
You didn't tape that, did
No.
you?
Yeah, I taped it.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. All right.
Okay.
Okay? Let me think this through. Right.
So you don't mess it up. So we don't have another.
That's okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Trevis with episode 37. I did it again.
Off to a good start again.
Episode 37. Another question and answer session here for Thrive Fitness. Got 4 questions today. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right. What book are you reading right now?
Oh my goodness. Let's see. I think there are a couple of them. In the morning, I read a book called Altruism by Matthew Ricard.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Buddhist monk.
Mm-hmm.
And the book is about 600 pages long or something silly. And basically, it's about all different aspects of altruism. If you don't know what altruism really is, it's essentially compassion, love, caring for other beings, doing things for other people because you want to make them happy and because you care about them. It's interesting because he talks a lot about different points of view. For instance, some psychologists believe that people do altruistic things not because of altruism, but because it's everything that we do is selfish. Okay, everything that we do is selfish. Because if you do something for somebody, it makes you feel good. So you're doing it. They say that you're doing it because you want the good feeling. Okay. Anyway, it's a good book. It's an interesting book. I'm also reading motivational interviewing again. So I gave you yours back, the one for fitness and nutrition. I'm reading the normal one, motivational interviewing.
Textbook one.
Yeah, that's another 500-page book. But it's awesome. Anybody who deals with people on a regular basis, which is pretty much everyone, especially if your business or your career depends on it, you should get the book, Motivational Interviewing. You should get it. And then I'm listening to Influence right now. Again, I've read it twice.
Excellent
and then I'm listening to that again. I'm in this like psychology phase. That's like just knowing how people work has kind of like become front and center.
Right, exactly.
What about you?
Well, I'm interestingly enough reading some psychology books myself. I'm reading Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. It's one that I've been hearing about for years. It's a thin book. It's not 500 pages long, but it's about his experience in Nazi concentration camps. He's a psychiatrist. So it kind of, talks about the basic bare minimum survival type things that you experience. He talks about apathy because of becoming numb, of seeing all the horrific things that went on around you, and about how love is a driving factor to keep people moving forward in a terrible situation. Humor, they even found like humor was interesting in that these prisoners and these concentration camps put on little shows for entertainment in the evenings, just as a survival technique, just to take their mind off of their environment and what they were enduring. And people would get up and read poetry, or they'd tell a story, even as weak and sick as they were, and how that I'm in the part now where they've just been liberated, and how many times he escaped death by decisions he made, gut feelings that he had about don't get on the truck to go where they thought they were being taken to another work camp. Those people were being taken to be killed. So he escaped that a couple times. So it's really kind of cool. It's a heavy book because it's kind of depressing,
emotional,
but it really kind of shows you the psyche and how it functions under really bad circumstances. So it's a good book. And
I imagine it also gives you an appreciation for your circumstances.
Oh my goodness! Oh my gosh! Yeah. Well,
when we
see,
think that
what people endure.
Yeah.
When you think that your life, like my hot water heater blew up the other day, and
end of the world.
And I was reading that book, and I'm like, really, Travis, this isn't that end of the world. You'll
make it.
Yeah. Plenty of people have taken ice cold showers before, so.
That's a Westerner's issue. That's not a world issue.
Right.
It's like an air conditioner going out, and admittedly, I did this too. Our air conditioner went out at the condo, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
I know.
We went and stayed at Kate's dad's house, and I got there, and I'm laying there, and I'm like, God, what kind of a baby am I right now?
It makes you feel kind of bad. I know. But, and then I'm reading it's about the paleo solution. Not the solving the paleo equation, which is, you always hear about you should challenge your beliefs and what you think is right. So this book is kind of doing that for me.
Yeah.
So anyway, I kind of put it down because I kind of got, I don't know about this.
Your mind.
Yeah, I don't.
Start fighting it a little bit.
Right. So anyway, but it's, I think it has some valid points in it. So that's what I'm doing now.
Cool.
I kind of probably have 4 really going. But
yeah.
But anyway, all right. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like reading. Wouldn't you love to be paid to read? How can we find a job? Although I love my job here.
Yeah.
How can we find a job that you would get paid to read books?
How can we find one?
Yeah.
I'm sure you can find. I'm sure it's out there.
If anybody wants us to read books and pay us to do it.
I suspect it's out there somewhere.
Just how awesome would that be? So anyway, all right. So this question is from Pete. And he wanted to ask, what should you look for in a running, walking, or workout shoe?
All right, so this is a good question, especially because sometimes shoes can be like religion in that whenever you challenge it for some people, they'll fight you to the death about their shoes. So when you go to a run store, or any kind of shoe store in general, but especially a run store, they check your gait, they look how you run, they see if you have any, if you need any arch support, they see if you have any, if you're pronating too much or supinating too much in your feet, if your knees are collapsing, so on and so forth. They look at those things, and then they give you a shoe based on how you run. The shoe is meant to fix your issue, right? Also, you see commercials about comfortable shoes, and they used to have those Skechers thingies with the bump in them.
They caused a whole big lawsuit.
They did, yeah. But you also see commercials about shoes that are, they're supposed to help you while you walk as well. And anyway, whenever you're picking a shoe, you always want to go for what your body wants to do. And the best way for your body to utilize itself and utilize the ground and utilize what you're trying to do, as well as not hinder your body or hold it back in any way or cause any more pain, discomfort, or possible long-term injury to it. So the best thing that you can do is get a flat shoe, number one. So a flat shoe is the best thing that you can do. Your body... So think if you're barefoot, you're flat to the ground, right? And your body understands flat to the ground. Whenever you lift yourself up with a heel of some sort, any kind of heel, whether it's a 1/4 inch or 2 inch heel, your body adapts to it and adjusts to it. And it affects everything all the way up the chain, from your ankles to your knees, calves, hamstrings, hips, back, everything, all the way up. So flat is number one. It's called a zero drop shoe. And then number 2, the next important thing is as little cushion as possible. So your body wants to understand what it's supposed to do. And the more cushion that you have between yourself and the earth or whatever you're running on or walking on, the more likely that it won't understand. So for instance, if you're hiking and you have something with an inch cushion on it between you and the ground, you're much more likely to roll your ankle because your body doesn't understand how to stabilize itself when you step on a root or on a rock. Okay? Also, because you're an inch off the ground, because of the cushion, you have a lot less stability because there's that movement in there that you can get from rolling your ankle. There's a lot more roll that will happen. Okay, the less cushion that you have, if you have no cushion there, number one, your body goes, all right, I'm stepping on a root. I know that I need to stabilize here. Obviously, it's not anything that you consciously think. Your body just does it. But and then number two, if you do roll your ankle, and I've rolled my ankle running barefoot a number of times, but it's never hurt afterwards because it's just a very small, very quick tweak. It's not a big, huge, like when you roll your ankle playing basketball or you roll your ankle any kind of sport. Typically, those shoes, you're up off the ground, so it's a big roll, right? When you're flat to the ground, there's just no movement there if you end up rolling it.
Okay. Well, I think that people think cushion, easy, protective.
Yep.
It's the exact opposite, really.
Well, no, because that is true. Cushion is comfortable, right? And cushion is, I wouldn't, you can say protective in a way, but not protective in the way that you want it to be. It is protective, but it's just like wearing a brace. So if you sprain an ankle, a PT is probably going to put you in a brace, which might not be terrible for an amount of time, but for the long term, it's going to be bad because your ankle never learns to re-stabilize itself. So your likelihood of injuring it again remains high if you continue to wear the brace, because all the musculature and tendons don't relearn that they have to stabilize. It's the same thing with your foot. If you wear something that has a lot of cushion, that supports you really, really well, that supports your ankle, that supports your arch, your foot doesn't have to do anything. Your shoe's doing the whole thing. So your foot's just like, all right, I'm going to become this mushy mess. And
there's so many muscles in your feet too. It's phenomenal.
Muscles,
and tendons,
bones. I mean, it's
an incredible.
So, like I said, it's a touchy issue for a lot of people, but it really just depends on what you want to get out of it. If you like your comfortable shoes, that's okay. That's fine. If you're having pain still with your comfortable shoes, try something different. And most people do with their comfortable shoes. They still have plantar fasciitis, and they still have Achilles pain, and they still have, knee issues and hip issues. Like, it must not be the fix that whoever sold them to you said it was going to be. Try something different. However, I warn you, if you decide to go from a regular running shoe to a minimalist or flat running shoe, do not go run your normal distance in them, because you will be in agony the next day, because your body's not used to it. Your body's used to the cushion and used to the the drop. So you have to walk before you run. Literally walk before you run, because your body has to adapt. It's like building a muscle. You can't bench press 300 pounds, but you can start with 100 and work your way to 300.
Okay.
Right, same thing.
Okay, good. All right, question number 3. This is from Amber, someone I work with, and she wants to ask, can exercise and nutrition help with infertility?
Oh. I'm going to give you my best here. So exercise, I'm going to tell you yes. It depends on the level of infertility. I'm going to say number 1. And I'm going to say it mostly will depend on nutrition. It'll depend on nutrition more than exercise. So exercise, especially for men, can help produce hormones and things that will help with. And again, I can't say 100% about infertility, but you produce testosterone, you produce growth hormone, you produce different hormones that a man should produce enough of, and some don't. So, the exercise I can't be as sure about. I can say probably, but to the extent I can't be 100% sure. The nutrition, on the other hand, I think can be a huge factor, because if you eat certain things, it's the things probably more that you're eating that are limiting your potential more than the things that you're not eating. I think those things are important as well, but Trevis, you can probably tell more about that than I can.
Well, because nutrition, what you eat plays a significant role on your hormones in your body. It's really kind of, I never much considered that until I started doing this. But really, that's really a big factor in the food that you take in. So I think exercise and nutrition together, you're doing them, you are creating an optimal environment for your best chance of becoming pregnant, I think. So therefore, it's the environment more so than anything else, and not having deficiencies in your body. So I agree. I think that nutrition is the bigger piece there, so that your hormones are in balance and you don't have too much, of one, not enough of the other. Because when you think of hormones and you think food, you think insulin and your blood glucose level, but really estrogen and progesterone and testosterone all are affected by that. So they all kind of communicate together. So I think that if your nutrition is on point, then I think you've just increased your odds. But you can't. You still need exercise also for stimulating those too.
So Amber, that's a good question. And like Trevis said, it's about giving yourself the best chance, and doing both is going to give yourself a better chance than doing neither. Like Trevis said, doing nutrition
is probably the more important one, I think. So anyway, that is a good question that she asked. All right. And then, here's another one. This is from Lisa, someone else I work with.
Looks like a long one.
Yeah, well, it's because I had to take some points. So she was recently diagnosed with acid reflux or GERD. She went and had went to her GI guy, and he told her that she needs to lose her upper belly fat, that it would help her acid reflux. So she wanted to ask, where would she start being 50 and older, female, who's been a couch potato for many years? How would what would be her best?
How do you start losing belly fat?
And being exercising.
Being 50 plus, not doing anything.
And never exercising. Really being a couch potato for many,
Lisa,
many years.
That's a fantastic question, because this isn't putting anybody down, it's just a way of life, because you get into life at 25, 30 years old, and then you blink and you're 50 years old, and all you've done is focus on everything else but yourself. And I'm 31, so I can't pretend like I've been through it, but I see it every day.
Well, you see me.
So, you talk about losing 100 pounds.
At 44.
So...
and I did wake up 100 pounds.
You blink and it's just like...
and it's like there. And you're like, oh my gosh.
It's a great question, because that is many more people than you probably think that it is. So you're definitely not alone in that you are struggling with what do I do? Like, where do I begin? Because when you look at TV and you look at magazines and you look at the newspaper and you look at whatever reality shows, like, there's all this stuff out there, and you're like, man, am I supposed to be doing that? Am I supposed to be doing this? Do I have to work out that hard? Do I have to eat this strict? Do I have to do...
Do I have to buy that piece of equipment?
The best thing that you can do, I'm gonna break it down both ways. The best thing that you can do for exercise is get off the couch and start moving. And I mean, like as simple as that. Like, get off the couch and start, like, just
walking.
Go for a walk after work. Get home and don't sit down, and go, like, just 5-minute walk. Start with 5. Add 5 minutes until you get to 30. And then maybe try running. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. It doesn't matter. It's not important. You have, everyone has where they start on the continuum of fitness. Some people are here and some people are way over here. If you were a triathlete, I would tell you a completely different thing. But most people aren't triathletes. Like we were talking about beforehand. She was asking me a question about our programming and how the reps that we are doing and how we're doing them is affecting her. And I said, for most people, they don't care about that stuff. Like they just want to feel better. She is 1% of the population that cares about that. And that's her. You're you. The person next to you that's them. So you have to start where you are. And if that's getting up and walking for 5 minutes, that's moving. That's moving. So I think that's the hardest thing for people is you see everything else and you're like, God, I have to work out 5 days a week for an hour and then that's 5 hours a week. And no, you don't have to do that. You can work up to that if you like to. And I'm not going to tell you not to, but you don't have to do that.
Right.
So for exercise, just get up and walk. And that's going to be a fantastic start. That's going to be an awesome start, getting up and walking. And even if it's before work, it might work better for you before work. I think for a lot of people it does. Wake up 15 minutes earlier and just get up and go for a walk. It's going to be nice and quiet. No one else might be up. And it might help you clear your head before you go to work too. It might help with a lot of things. So that's going to be the start for exercise. Just get up and move. For nutrition, again, it's one step at a time. You have to look at yourself and you have to say, all right, there are all these diets and fads out there, but most people understand the basics of what you should do. Have a general idea of the basics, right? To be healthier. Number one, don't label things as good as bad or as good or bad. Okay, what are the things that are going to get you to where you want to go? Okay, so most people know that you need to drink water. And you probably, if you want to be healthier, sodas and juices and things with sugar probably don't need to be there. Most people understand that eating cake and things like that on a regular basis isn't going to get weight off of you. Most people understand. So there are things that people understand. Find one of the things that you think that you can do now. Okay, if that's drinking a glass of water in the morning, that's step one. And that's where you need to start. So you have to build up victories.
Yeah.
Okay, the problem is a lot of people don't build up victories. They change everything at once. They can't do it because it's a lot of change, and they stop because they tell themselves that they're a failure because they can't. If you're trying to change all these things, it's overwhelming. Yeah. It just really is. So you have to start with the simplest, easiest, most basic thing. And like I said, for a lot of people, that is just drinking a glass of water in the morning.
Yeah.
And if that's, you will be amazed at simply telling yourself every morning, I'm going to drink a glass of water.
And I'd like to add to that, you do that for, it should be pick something that's simple, something that you feel on a scale of 0 to 10, that you feel like a 9, an 8 or a 9, that you can do that every day for 2 weeks. Don't pick it if you give it a 5, because you have to break it out in shorter time frames like that. But make sure that whatever you start with, that you feel like, I can do that every day. It's simple enough. I can do that every day for 2 weeks. And if you don't feel that way about it, then what you need to do is it probably needs to be broken down into something smaller.
Right.
Right, and just track that, and keep a log, and and like you said, you have to celebrate your victories.
Yep.
And you build upon each success as you go down the road when you're trying to make all the different changes, because for the most part, people, there's multiple things they need to do and you can't take them on all at one time.
Right.
You can't quit smoking, you can't lose weight, and you can't start exercising all at the same time.
Because that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of change. It's a lot of change, and it really is. We're creatures of habit, and when you have all these habits ingrained in you, and you go to change them all at one time, it's just hard to do. Again, it's 1% of the population that can do that. 1% of the population that can change a lot of things at once and not struggle with it.
Right. Because you don't want to be the person that you get these changes in place and then you can't sustain them. Because then the next thing you know, you might have lost, 20 pounds and you've put 15 of it back on.
Yes.
Because you didn't make
it sustainable.
Change,
right. So when you look at things like Biggest Loser, and it doesn't happen as much anymore because I think people are more over it but when it first started and when it was really, really popular, I think it still is, but that's not important. You get, as a person in the fitness industry, you hear things like, should I see them doing this on The Biggest Loser, and I see them doing that, and I see them doing this, and what should I do? And I've been trying this, and I've been trying this, just like they do. And I'm like, most of the people on that show put their weight back on. Most of them do. Because it's not sustainable.
Right.
It's just not. Losing 150 pounds in I don't know, 12 weeks, 12, something ridiculously short. It's just not sustainable.
And honestly, they don't do anything else in those weeks. I mean, that's
just what they're doing.
Life.
Yeah, that's their life.
And I would recommend to anyone never to ask yourself why. Why are you wanting to do this? Because the why is a big piece of your motivation.
Yeah.
As to why you're making these changes, and if you're just doing it to win, $250.
Yeah.
Or even if it's $5,000, well, look, anybody can do that. That's enough motivation. But is that what happens once you have the $5,000?
Right, or
and you've
back.
spent it?
Yeah, you going back.
Right. So look at why you're making changes.
Yeah.
Because you see people do it for the wrong reasons, and that's they get it off, but then they put it right back on.
Yeah.
So ask, because you have to keep that why first and foremost in your mind whenever your motivation starts to fall you have to say, remember your why. Why are you doing this?
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Lisa, that's a great question. And that's something a lot of people struggle with. Just start small. Any small thing that you can do, you have to tell yourself, okay, I know I can do this. I know, like she said, 0 to 10, it has to be 8 or 9 at least, preferably 9 or 10.
Right.
I can get up and I can drink a 12-ounce glass of water every morning. I know I can do
just
that.
One.
Yep.
Just start there.
Start there. So, small changes, they add up really quick, really quick. But good question.
Okay. All right. Is that it? Can I ask you a quick one?
Yeah.
Okay.
We only have like 10 minutes left on the card.
Okay, well, hurry up. So how do you recover from a Charlie horse?
Oh my goodness.
Because I know, 2 people have been having issues with it.
Yeah.
So.
How do you recover from it?
Oh my gosh. Right. And why is that so painful? Literally, it felt like I tore my calf again.
Yeah.
When I was trying to walk on.
I mean, it's just especially when you're sleeping, it's just like the hardest muscle contraction that you can think of. And that's what it is. I mean, it's just your muscles contracting as hard as they can. It can be from nutrition. It can be from hard work. It can be from from hydration. So it can be from another number of things. And I think some people that you can be you're typically really hydrated and well nourished. Eat well.
I ate a lot last night, so it wasn't that.
It's just one of those things that happens sometimes when you're trying to recover.
Do you rub it? Do you just scream? Do you walk on it, or what?
Well, you scream. I guess you can do that. That might help. And then
you can't hardly
once you're finished yelling and screaming, I wouldn't go into trying. You can stretch it a little bit, but I wouldn't worry about trying to stretch something like that too much. I would worry more about massage than I would about stretching. So rolling, or if you can go to get a massage or something like that.
Okay. All I could do was hold it. Just hold it. Oh my God! Please go away. But yeah, so the first thing you think of is dehydration.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's probably where that's where most cramps come from, is dehydration, especially when you're in sports. That's where a lot of it comes from. But it's not always. It's electrolytes. There's all kinds of.
Eat a banana.
Yeah.
That's what they used to do on the basketball court when the girls they'd be like giving them a banana. Yeah. So all right, good. Well, thank you. Good.
Thank you.
All right.
Nice job.
Thanks everybody for listening or watching, and have a good Thursday. Anything else? Where can we be found at?
Send your questions to Thrive Fitness on Twitter at ThrivePack, or retrieve us at
thriveforstrength.com. Yeah. So send your questions in. We like doing this.
That was a weak clap. Do it again.
That wasn't the real clap.
Oh, okay, sorry.